In this video, we're going to walk through building a very simple to-do application in React. We're going to use code sandbox, and a template has already been set up with all of the scaffold for the styles. So you can join in and watch, and also, if you want, follow along. So let's go ahead and jump into the application, and I'll walk through what we currently have. So looking at code sandbox, I'll leave a link in the description for this template to start using. But what we have right now is very basic styles built out, as well as some of the states for the to-do application. So as you can see on the right-hand side, we have to-dos, we have a list of elements, and then we have checkboxes, and we can line through based off of class names. So if the to-do is complete, then we have complete as the class name for the to-do. And then also on top of that, down below for this navigation down below, we have buttons, and if it's active, you can have the active class. And as you can see, if I swap this out for this, you'll see complete is now active. So we can switch between filter all complete and incomplete. So to start with, let's add a little bit of state management to this application. And let's go ahead and come up here and we'll import useState from React. We're going to stick with just React, React DOM, and React Script. So this is pure React application. So for useState, we'll want to have to-dos. So I can say const to-dos and set to-dos equals useState, and to-dos is just going to be an array. And how this works is to-dos is the state itself. This is the default state, which is an array. And this is the helper function to actually set the state. So what we can do is we can basically create these LIs here. We'll just to-dos.map over all the to-dos, and for each to-do, we will render out this LI. So if I hit return here, we can render out that LI. We won't need this one anymore. I can save that, and of course nothing, actually let me refresh here. So nothing renders because there's no to-dos. So we actually need to add an input to be able to add to-dos. But to start with, let's go ahead and add like a very basic first to-do. So we're going to say that the name of the to-do is get the groceries. And so that works for that. So now we need to actually replace this name, the span right here, for to-do.name. And so now we have that name. It's not going to be complete. So what we can do is actually say, let's just say this is going to be to do. And then if it's complete, so say to do.complete, we'll add the complete. Else we'll just do nothing. So that way it'll add the complete if it is complete versus not. So that works for that. And so also what we can do is for this input, we'll say on change probably. We will say e, and let's just console.log out what e.target is. So if I go to console here, let's see, receive true for non-boolean. Unexpected token on change listener to be function instead got a value of boolean. Let's refresh the page there. And then, okay, so that works. Console.log checkbox e.target.checked should be what we need to get for this. So let's minimize that again. And so then if I do that, we'll see whether it's checked or not. Let's move this down so we can see checked, true, false, true, false, true, false. So now what we can do is we know the index based off of this to-do itself. So we can say to-do an I for index. So we can actually change the to-dos itself with set to-dos. So what we'll do is we'll say set to-dos. And we can actually get all the to-dos from in here. And we'll say to do to-dos dot map, and here's the to-do with the index. We'll call this index up here, and then we'll wrap this in a function. That way we can make this an arrow function. And so if I is equal to index, then we know it's the to-do that we're updating. So we can just say return to-do, and then we also want to return whether it's checked or not. So e.target.checked for checked. And up here we'll add like a default checked of false. And then else, actually we don't even need an else, we can just return to do there. Other thing we need to do is, looks like we need there we go, an empty paren. So now if I actually check this, you'll see that it gets checked and unchecked, but it's actually changing the state. What we can do is we can console.log that those to-dos up here, and when I click it, we'll have that object checked, false, true, should be false. Awesome. So let's make this complete instead of that. So we'll say complete. And so now you should see, if I check it, we now actually have that line showing up because it knows that it's complete. So there we go for that. The next thing we need to do is add some sort of input to be able to push to-dos onto the list. So we can actually add that like right below the H1. We'll call an input and we'll say type is equal to text. And then we'll have the name is equal to to-do. And then on change, or actually, how do we want to do this? Let's first add a class name here, and we'll say like, we can just call this input for now. That way we can go over here and we'll just add this one small style here and just say margin bottom of 5 pixels. That'll push that down a little bit, and then we can say width of 100%. Yeah, that's fine for that. Let's say max width of 300 so it stays within. Let's see, input, wrapper. It should be staying within that. Margin 0. Padding 0 probably. No, padding, let's say padding of 4 pixels. That way it moves it a little bit bigger. Let's just remove the width for now. And then we should be good for that. So now we can actually like type inside of here. And the idea is when I hit enter, we should be able to push to the to-do list. And so how are we going to do that exactly? Let's see. What we want to do is we want to have a function up here, and we're going to say const handle change. There's going to be a function. It's going to take the event in. Oops, handle change function. It's going to take the event in, and then it's going to say e.target.value. And we're actually going to look for the enter key. So e.key, if e.key is equal to enter, then we actually want to do something like set to dos. And then we're basically going to take the current to dos, push it on there, and then create a new to do with that name. So we'll just go ahead and let's add it to the top. So we have, instead of get the groceries, we want e.target.value. And we'll call handle change down here. So on change. So now if I actually type inside of here, hit enter, let's console.logout e.key. It might be key code. Let's see, E. So let's open this up. We have let's see, let's look this up real quick. So we have React get key code. It might be on handle on key press. It's what, yeah, event.keycode. So let's change this. Key code is what we want. And then we actually want to say, instead of, let's say handle key down. And on this one, we'll say on key down. Save that. And then if I type in here, we should get key code. So enter. So we can actually say key right here. So key is equal to enter. And that should give us what we want. There we go. Next thing is we probably want to clear out that value. So we could do this one of two ways. We can actually create like the value up here using useState. We can do that, or we can get a ref and clear it. Ref would probably be nice. So let's just go ahead and do it that way. So we'll say use ref, and we'll say const ref is equal to use ref. And right here, we'll say ref is equal to ref. Now what we can do after this, we can say ref.current.value is equal to empty string. So that way when I hit enter, it clears it out and we're good to go. Oh, need to remove that A. So from here, we're almost done. We can actually select all the ones. Now we just want to get that filtering down below working properly. So how would we do that? So for filtering down below, we're basically just wanting to filter off the current list. So we just need some sort of way of knowing how to filter off that list. And so what we can do is we can use like a constant value would be a good way to do this. So we can say const, another piece of state, we can say filter is equals to set filter. And say use state, and the filter is going to be all, complete, or incomplete. And what we can do up here is, instead of having magic strings, we can say const filters is equal to, and then we'll say all, it's going to be all, complete, it's going to be complete, and then incomplete, it's going to be incomplete. The benefits of this is you won't have issues with mistyping stuff. So now I can just say down here, the default state is going to be filter.all. And so now what we can do is right here, we can say to-dos. Actually, right up here, we can say const filtered to-dos is going to be to-dos dot filter, and then to do, and inside of here we can just say if filter is equal to filters dot all, then just return true. else if filter is equal to filters dot complete, then we want to return if to do is complete. And the last else will just be return if to do's is not complete. And so from there, we should be able to use filter to do's right here. So filter to do's by default is all. So what we can do is down here at the bottom, we can update this and basically say that this is going to be a button, and we'll say filter is equal to filters.all. Then we'll say active, else it's not active. And then we're going to use this similar logic for this as well as this. But instead of .all, we'll say complete or inactive or incomplete. So now we just need the action to update this. So we can say on click equals set filter, and we're just going to say filters.all. And then the same thing with these other ones. We want to say instead of filters.all, filters.complete and filters.incomplete. So then when I click this stuff, what should be happening is it should be filtering off of whether it's complete or not. I think I actually have it reversed up here. So let's see. There we go. So all complete, and then incomplete is not working. Let's see. Console.log filter to do's all complete, all complete, incomplete. Filters. There we go. Oh, I did have that logic right. So let's remove that and then put that here. That's what we want. So complete. So complete, incomplete, complete, all. Now the other thing is this checkbox is not remaining checked. So what we can do is we can actually make this a controlled state, and we'll say that value, or actually we'll say checked, and then we'll say to do.complete to get that checked value. That way we know if it is checked, it'll always stay checked. So 1, 2, 3, I need eggs. Checked, 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 complete, incomplete. And you can see they filter themselves out whenever you uncheck them. Looks like it's, let's see, complete. Get the groceries. When I click on that, doesn't look like it's updating properly. Probably because the index is different. Would be my guess, because yeah, so what we can do is set to do's instead of index, set to do's map to do. Yeah, this index is different, which is the reason why. Let's see. what we can do instead of indexes, we can do like a random number. So let's see. Random number ID JavaScript. We don't really want to use UUID. Here's a good example. So math.random string slice. So let's just do this. So we'll say that ID is equal to that. And so then whenever we actually create a to-do, we'll give it its own ID. And that way down here, instead of doing by index, we can say, we can remove this and say to-do.id is equal to t.id. So that should give us a better way of filtering off of things. Let's refresh here. We also need to make sure that each input has its own, which is really nice. For keys here, we can say key is equal to to-do.id. And now we don't need this index. Test 1, 2, 3. You can say to-do, to-dos, map t, that should be t, return t. Test. There we go. That's what we were wanting. Let's see. Let's make this a little bit more explicit here. So we'll say filter to do, complete, filter to do complete, and that way this can be to do. To do, filter to do. All right, example 1, 2, 3. You can see that they're checked. I can come back to complete. I can go there to incomplete, and now we have a way of actually filtering all complete and incomplete on the to-dos. So this is just a quick example of how to use React. Very basic. I think it's 112 lines of code. Most of it was just boilerplate of the HTML/JSX that we created. We can remove this console.log here. Down below in the description, I'll leave a link to both the completed solution as well as incomplete solution. So if you wanted to give this a shot yourself and create your own to-dos list and be able to filter off of it, you can. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe.